So, it looks like Terrazek has decided to grab some infestors, grab a bunch of Zerglings, and move out pretty soon to attack the pink Protoss player. And we will see what happens here in just a moment. Once these infestors get a little bit more energy, they'll be ready to run into combat and cast practically nothing. Nothing! Not even practically one thing will they cast. Everybody keep your eye on these infestors and see what they are able to cast. Oh, here's our overlord. It looks like that queue was canceled, so I guess that crazy queue was all for naught. Unfortunately, we will not be able to see that overlord take his path, and instead we will see these speedlings run in, the banelings come in, they blow up against the zealots, reduce some of their attack, and instead what happens is these zerglings get annihilated by the stalkers. The infestors kind of run around like morons and don't do anything. And I think maybe they cast one fungal growth up here, but I think that's pretty much all the infestors have done. They've run back here and burrowed like little biatches. So, now we're going to see what is about to happen for Terrazek. Here comes the Kaidaran Amulet for the pink Protoss player, and Terrazek has decided to go with the double Evo chamber, noticing that he has a ton of extra resources, wants to spend them on something, and the only thing he can think about is maybe some upgrades. So, here we go, some more infestors coming in, dropping a fungal growth on a Protoss army. Now, this is not particularly effective against a Protoss army to run in and drop that because they do have the shields, which will regenerate if they are not in combat. And so here you see all of these shields are pretty much going back up to full. Now, if this was a Terran army, that would have been a decent strategy because you can wear them down over time. But as Protoss do have these shields, that's not a particularly effective strategy. So, instead, what has happened is Terrazek has decided to grab a pretty good amount of Hydras. We have 11 Hydras, 27 Zerglings, and 5 Infestors going up against this pink Protoss army, and we will see what is about to happen eventually. Now, it looks like Murder by Bill has decided that he wants to get some eyes in the sky, so he has built an observer and is moving it out into the Zerg base. Let's see what he sees, and here we go, spotting out a bunch of Zerglings, spotting out that we have this lair morphing into a hive, and moving out, spotting out the infestation pit, the Zergling spawning pool, and the Hydralisk den. Now, how much information has that given him? I do not know, but we will see over time. So, here goes Terrazek moving out with some Hydras up onto the high ground, doing basically nothing but securing this extra third expansion, going for the 3 hatch, 3 expand, because there is no harass coming from the pink Protoss player. So we are going to see a 2 Protoss base versus a 3 Zerg base, and see how much more outmass the Zerg can do of the Protoss opponent. And as we will see here in a moment, if we look at the resource tab, you can see that the Zerg player has far more supply than the pink Protoss player. Over 14 plus 5, that is 19 more supply, and a ton more extra over the top, 140 cap over 100. So it looks like the Zerg player is pretty much going to have a very good opportunity to outmass this Protoss player, considering that his resources are actually a bit more as far as what is stored in the bank in terms of income, almost double what is going on, despite the fact that the green Zerg player does not even have as many harvesters as the Protoss player. He still has more income because of this gold expansion, which is actually pretty much mined out, and we will see that it does in fact get mined out in this game. Moving on, we are going to have the observer over here scouting out the gold expansion, because I believe that Murder by Bill is going to make an attempt soon to try to secure that gold expansion for himself. In fact, here it is. Here's the Nexus, which is about to spawn. Now, what you may or may not have noticed by this point in time is that the Nidus canal, the Nidus network is up. It's right here, and it is full of hydralisks and zerglings and infestors. Here goes up the Nidus worm in the back of the base, and about to spawn out of here is going to be a humongous Zerg army. Now, what you see over here, the pink Protoss army has moved out to kill this one Zergling, which was harassing the Nexus. And what's going to happen is this Protoss army is going to be completely out of position for this Zerg assault, just flooding out of this Nidus worm, coming in the back of the Protoss base. The Hydralisks are coming out so fast they don't even know what to do. They're just going to stand up here because they don't even see anything they can attack. And they're just going to chill up here in the top of the Protoss base, not even attacking a single thing. However, we did manage to see a few probes get killed. Here come the Zealots getting annihilated by these Hydralisks. We got some Infestors up in here, not even practically casting anything, still full energy. The Hydralisks moving out, getting a decent surround, still a lot of them just sort of milling around. And here goes the storms. One storm, two storms, really softening up these Hydralisks. Now you can see right here, this is when that Psionic Storm and the Kaidarian Amulet are really going to pay off, because in are going to come some Templars pretty soon, and they are going to be able to drop some storms on these Hydras. Oh my gosh, some more storms dropping right here, killing off some more Hydras, as these Hydras up here are cleaning up a few of these pylons. But down here, we have an Overseer Cocoon coming in, and some more Templars warping in, some more storms, dropping tons of storms all over these Hydralisks, and just annihilating all of the Hydralisks with all of those storms. Oh my gosh, so many storms going all over the place, just melting all of those Hydralisks, and pretty much fending off this Zerg assault, at least for now. Here's our few more Hydralisks, which are killing off these buildings, but they are going to get cleaned up by these Templars, dropping a couple more storms up here, warping in some more Stalkers with his what's left of his warp gates, trying to clean up this Infestor with another storm, moving these Stalkers in, trying to clean up this Infestor, and there it goes. And pretty soon we're going to see these inactive buildings are going to prove somewhat, I don't know really what's going to happen, but they are inactive right now. So you can see the Murder by Bill cannot warp in quite so many units because some of these warp gates are inactivated. Now, Terrazek at this point in time could pretty much flood the back of the Protoss base with tons of Hydralisks again. But instead, what happens is that this Templar comes up, scouts the Nidus Worm, sees what's going on, understands what needs to happen, and these three Zealots come up along with some Stalkers, coming up to the back of the base to clean up the Nidus Worm. And what happens is this Infestor, which is stranded up here with full energy, is just annihilated without casting a single spell. And this Nidus Worm in the back of the Protoss base, which would have been an excellent way of delivering all of these Hydralisks, is now gone. And now the Nidus Worm has even more Hydralisks, a few drones in there as well. I'm not exactly sure what they are doing in those Nidus Worms, but there they are in the Nidus Worms. In fact, these drones here moving out over to this expansion, trying to secure some more resources for the Zerg player